I am adding someone this week.
Ooh.
It is Daniel Rioli at Richmond.
Yes, please.
So he was spotted having a drink with Damien Hardwick during the Tigers' bye a few weeks ago up on the Gold Coast. He had 4 days off, like these clubs gave their players. Typically, he went up there with his partner for a little getaway, but he was spotted having a birthday drink with Dimmer, his old triple premiership coach.
We love a spotted having a drink.
Well, it was reported, so I'm not claiming that one. But Gold Coast this year have 3 first-round picks to deal with. They've got their own, then they've got the Western Bulldogs, which you'd think if they're in the 8, just tipping in or just tipping out is probably around the pick 8 to 12 mark.
Yep.
And they've also got that pick 20, the end of first-round pick from North Melbourne. They did a deal with them last year.
What was that for again?
It was part of a pick swap that helped North bring in either one of Zach Fisher or Dylan Stevens. I think
right.
it was a combo of picks.
Yep.
So the Suns have their own, the Dogs pick and North's pick inside the top 20 this year.
Pretty good spot to be.
And given what they did at last year's draft, given the age demographic of that list, 22 to 24-year-olds, they're stacked. As you said, they don't need to go back again and get young talent. So those picks are clearly going to be up for
Do you think
grabs.
he's going?
Daniel Rioli?
Yep.
Bit early. Give me a month.
Okay, I'll give
But
you a month.
that's why he's going on the whiteboard, because I think it's something that he'll contemplate. And Richmond will have to contemplate over the next 12 to 18 months on these big-name players. I'll tell you why. This is the grab yesterday he provided at the press conference to launch Dreamtime at the G. Now, he was door-stopped a month ago when he was up there on the Gold Coast. He had nothing to say then. You think this is his next major media appearance. He may have something ready. This is what he had to say yesterday.
Look, I'm obviously contracted to 2027, so but right now I'm just focusing on this team and trying to get these boys better. And obviously I'm a young leader as myself, so I've been an assistant for about 9 years now. So I'm just trying to play happy footy, which I'm trying to do. And I lean on people like leaders, Nathan Broad, and all of that. So they keep me in good stead, and all I'm focusing on is this year and focusing on getting this team to where we want to go, and just to get better and get better every day. Rocking up to the club with a smile on our faces. Don't want to sort of drag the media about whatever's going on in the background noise. So
Now, that's a deflection if ever I've heard one.
Massively.
So he's contracted till 2027, but as we know, it doesn't mean a great deal. His partner is a DJ, plenty of nightclubs up that way.
Well, plenty of nightclubs here too.
There are. And I don't think the Suns will be the only club sort of looking around given the Dimmer link. The other club I wouldn't rule out in this case is the Giants and Adam Kingsley. Kingsley was the backline coach in 2022 when Rioli made the switch from forward to halfback. And you look at the Suns list and where they're at. I don't think the Giants need early picks either in terms of where they're at with contending. Now, they'll be tighter for cash and taking someone like that on, but there is a link there as well. And as far as I can tell, there's plenty of nightclubs in Sydney as well.
I think that would be accurate.
Yeah.
Is the Ivy still a thing?
Which flows onto the wider Richmond conversation I know you want to have. But I just look
at for me.
Hey?
Bit upmarket for me, the Ivy, but
You would have been there.
Prefer Fitzroy.
I love a comparison. We did one last week, which was well received between North and the Brisbane rebuild. I think Hawthorn of that 2020-2021 window is similar to Richmond of 2024-2025. So remember they went and got Jager O'Meara and Tom Mitchell.
Yep.
It's similar maybe to the Hopper-Torino comparison. They're thinking they're in the window, having been in the window.
Yeah, it's a fair call.
And then they put up, a few years later, they went and put up Jager O'Meara and Tom Mitchell for trade. They were happy to let Luke Bruce go to GWS. That didn't eventuate. Then 12 months later, O'Meara and Mitchell end up leaving. They probably got unders for what they were actually worth, especially considering what they've achieved in the game. Richmond need a conversation. Well, Liam Baker is clearly out of contract and weighing up his options. Jack Graham's a free agent. Do they look at a Jaden Short? Do they look at a Tom Lynch? Do they look at a Daniel Rioli we've just discussed? So, yeah, I think they're similar. Richmond is the 4th oldest list right now in the comp.
Can I just before you get into them, because I want to ask you about Richmond, back to Rioli quickly.
Yeah.
Just quickly. Forget about Gold Coast. Forget about other interest. Forget about where Richmond are at. Daniel Rioli right here, right now, is worth what pick and how much a year?
So are we factoring in that he's contracted?
Yeah, that is contracted. So you need to get him out. Yep.
I'd say late first round pick somewhere between pick 15 to 18.
Yep, I think that's spot on. And cash?
700 to 750 a year.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd even pay him a bit more. Like depending on the Gold Coast cap. Well, I know, sorry, I said forget about Gold Coast. But yeah, if you had the cash to spend, he's pretty lethal in the right mix.
Yeah.
When he wants to be.
And then
he's not like, is he damaging as at Adam Sard? Maybe.
Yeah, I'd say so. And then you come into the
What did
conversation.
Sard go for? Like pick 10 in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
But would Gold Coast give up a pick? Let's say it's the Bulldogs pick, end up being, say, just pick 10. You give up a little bit more of a pick, and you say to Richmond, you pay 150 a year of that cash.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Richmond's salary cap is going to be able to, you think with where their list is tracking.
The old Brett Deledio.
Is going to be able to do that. Richmond right now is the 4th oldest list in the competition.
Yeah, sorry, back to Richmond.
At the time, Hawthorn was 5th oldest in the competition when all these discussions were going on. List managers and clubbers will tell you the last place you want to be is an old list and not contending, and that's where Richmond is right now. So they've got some big decisions to make.
I found the so Brendan Gale's come out this week and done an interview with SEN, and he's, I'm paraphrasing him here, but sort of talking about, look, footy's a fluid thing. We don't look at rebuilding and refurbing and regenerating. We just try to win every week, and so I completely understand that. Like, their job is to just keep being as good as they can be for as long as they can be. But at what point is there a tipping point where you then have to say, are we considering moves to, ironically, in the words of Damien Hardwick, take one step back to go 2 steps forward? So when they went and got Hopper and Taranto, I accept that it wasn't necessarily purely just to try to win another flag, even though that's what the ultimate goal is. But it's to stay Geelong, it's to stay Sydney, it's to stay relevant.
Geelong.
They certainly didn't think it would backfire and go the other way. Now, they've had lots of injuries, so maybe their list is hard to have a genuine look at, and I'm going to do a list analysis of Richmond in the next couple of weeks. But we are now having an open discussion, and they would be having closed doors discussions. Are we trading Rioli in our best 10 players to go young and hopefully get a better player? Are we letting Baker walk to get a first-round pick and hopefully get a better Baker? Like, that is literally the definition of rebuilding, because you are actively seeking to go younger and therefore delay your improvement. So I just find it a little bit bemusing when people come out and Ross Lyon has said this before as well. Like, we don't rebuild, but we replumb, we retile, all that sort of stuff, which I found funny. But and even Nathan Buckley said this week, he said rebuilding's a media term. We don't talk about it internally. It's like, well, you can call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about giving away players to get picks.
Well, Hawthorn was a rebuild, right? They went from the 5th oldest list to the 18th oldest list in 2.5 years.
Yeah, and I'm doing a former North Melbourne player for Nuts and Bolts this week, and I want that to lead into what can happen when you actively decide to go back and then try to top up. So it doesn't necessarily work for anyone, but what Richmond do in the next 6 months is really important for this footy club.
I just want to put on the record, we sat in this studio 12 months ago when Adam Uze got appointed, and I said Richmond could jump quickly if their young kids come on. And I want to put that on the record that I'm not shying away from. Like, I thought this Richmond list was probably further advanced than what it actually is.
Yeah.
But you look at their players 23 and under, they just haven't come on. There's been a lot of Gibcus is injured. Judson Clark did his ACL, but he was playing VFL at the time. Tyler Sonsie hasn't probably kicked on maybe as much as they would have hoped. Hugo Ralph-Smith, Matthew Coulthard's a preseason. That's probably harsh. But Noah Cumberland, we saw glimpses of him, but he's been stuck in the VFL. Samson Ryan was dropped after the first week or two and hasn't come back in when they've been gutted with injuries. So, it's for me, Richmond's is 23 and under. They're relying too much on their 26 and older right now, 25 and older.
Yeah, I think Kane said on Footy Classified, he put up their list of under 20 or 25 and under.
Yeah.
Who of those are potentially all Australians? I think he named 2.
Yeah.
So, they're in a bit of trouble.
So Daniel Rioli goes on, and he may not be the only Tiger in the next few weeks.
Ooh. Baker's there though, isn't he?
Sorry, in terms of the next batch. He's out of contract, Baker, so he's an obvious one.
Is he on your what?
He's on yours, I think.
That's right. He's one of my boys. Old mate Bakes.